are difficult over the years to be able to stay there at the top, to be able to carve a niche for ourselves. Egypt, Morocco, they are doing both those ideas, and be able to share it with the stakeholders so that we can take action toward making sure that we address all these anomalies that we've been encountering in the areas of sport as well. So for me, I think we need to do a whole lot more, honestly speaking, because we have other young African countries that is also doing great things out there whenever they
and canoeing as well. But what do you make of it? Do you think trying to improve ourselves, in other sports, or probably sport that are not that very much, being in this in the country, can help us, amass more medals in the Olympics?
Well, that is true. I want to agree to a certain extent. Putting our strength in other areas of sport, which is not that popular, I agree that can help us to amass more medals whenever we head for the Olympic. But that shouldn't be the priority here. For me, I think there is need for us to seriously improve on those sport activity, those areas where we know that this is a general sport that majority of Nigerians watch, and majority of Nigerians take part in it before we can truly say, okay, let us look into other sporting arena that is not that well. But many Nigerians will turn out to Nigerians to turn out in their numbers to watch. But when you take a look at some other lesser sports, who goes to the stadium to watch, for example, chess? How many people will come turn out to the stadium to watch chess? These are some of the questions that we ask ourselves. But can this area also help us to amass gold medals or silver medals when we go for national assignment? Of course, yes. But after amassing the medals in those minor sports, we're coming back home. Which area can we actually hold ourselves and say yes, we can beat our chest and say yes? If you call Nigeria any day, any time, even if we are asleep, we can wake up, dust ourselves, go out there and still deliver. There is none. So there is need for us to channel our energy and effort in
World Table Tennis Finals for the top 16 players in the world. Nigerian will be making his third appearance at the World Table Tennis Finals after he confirmed yesterday as the latest qualifier among the top 16 that are expected to compete at the event taking place in Doha, Qatar. The World Table Tennis Finals is regarded as the peak of for the World Table Tennis Series, and it provides the opportunity for the best 16 men's players in the world to battle for a share of $340,000 prize money at stake, as well as a ranking point to show up their rating for their qualification for Paris 24 Olympic Games. Exraordinary remains the only African player to have featured in the World Table Tennis Finals, having competed at the maiden edition in Singapore, as well as the 2022 edition in China. Players that had already booked for sports at the tournament include Bang Xingdong, Wang Zhengyu, and Malong of China, Hugo Cadarado of Brazil, and Chengkong of China, and have a discussion with the former world champion in person to finally agree on terms for a blockbuster fight. They followed this up by claiming the 2012 Olympic gold medalist by saying he's scared to face him in the ring. For the last few months, there were talks of a year-end showdown with Joshua in Saudi Arabia. According to Joshua's promoter, the hand of Matchroom, some managerial changes in Saudi with the executive who handles sports have derailed the funding for that event. Whether now, we said 8 years has not fought since knocking out Robert Helenius in the first round in October 2022, but he believes he is in prime condition to face Joshua.
They always want to play the mind games anywhere, any day, anytime. Even
they will take a short break at this point. So when we'll come back from this break, we'll dash it.
Oh, what a point to end it on. So now this is when they're at their best. And when they're 12 years for this. So drink it in. Still goes to
they were given, a riot act was read against the team and the coach about a few weeks ago. But since the riot act was read against them, I think they've played 3 games and managed to win just 1 out of those 3 games. And heading to playing against a very formidable Doma United, I think it's going to be a very difficult one for them. Don't forget, Doma United beat their rival a week ago, talking about Gombe United. They trashed them 3 goals to nothing, and they're playing against Bendel Insurance in the midweek. They were able to play 1-1, and Bendel Insurance is another very strong team that you should expect to beat any big team there, but they were able to hold their own. They are in form, and meeting Aqua United that is struggling this time around, I don't think Aqua United will see any point out of that one. So I'm giving it to Doma United because of the fact that they know how to play big games.
And of course, if Aqua United fail to get a point from this, a very huge problem, of course, for.
Whenever Remo Stars plays at home, out of 100%, the possibility of them winning always stood at 90.2%. So for me, I think it's going to be a 3 point in the kitty for them. But then again, this is Nigerian Premier Football League, and we've seen a lot of improvement this season, and we can't rule away any upset, because if it happens, I won't be surprised, because we've had about 2 or 3 away win since the start of this season. But then again, this is football, anything can happen, but they are in a poor position to take all 3 points because of the fact that they are playing at home.
As football, anything can happen. Let's see what comes up in that encounter between Remo Stars and Gombe United. Plateau United, of course, will be in action against Abia Warriors, as Katsina United will host Rivers United.
Also struggle this season. It looks as though most of the big teams in the NPFL this season is struggling. The likes of Aqua United, former champion, struggling since the start of this season. Rivers United, former champion, struggling since the start of this season. Enyimba FC also struggling. So for me, I think Rivers United need to up their ante if they truly want to get a point, away in this very one. But that could be very, very difficult. But then again, like I said earlier, this is football. It's a game of 11-11. It boils down to who wants it the most. But I strongly believe that Rivers United should go for all 3 points. Because if they have this at the back of their mind, that they are going out there to get all 3 points, then at most, at the end of the game, they might possibly come home with a draw. But if they are going out there with the mindset of just trying to get a point, then that is where they are going to lose the game. They should go out there with the mindset that they want to win the game, so as to complement their standing on the log.
Para United, of course, will be national against Shooting Stars, as Niger Tornadoes, of course, will be national against Bende Insurance.
For the MPFL this weekend, Kano Pillars versus Enyimba FC, I think this is a big game that we need to watch out. And this kind of game can produce a whole lot of upset, because we've seen it many times. These are big teams that have been at the Nigerian Premier Football League top tier for quite a long time. They know how to play the big games. So for me, I strongly...
Interesting one. Promises to be an exciting encounter between Kano Pillars and Enyimba Football Club. Lobby Stars will be national against Sporting Lagos, and Sunshine Stars will be national against Enugu Rangers. Let's see how also these features will pan out this weekend. But let's stay away from that as we take a look at the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Now, the head coach of the Super Eagles, Yesu Peseiro, has called up 23 players for this month's World Cup qualifying fixtures against Lesotho and Zimbabwe. Peseiro has invited regulars like goalkeeper Maduka Okoye, defenders Kenneth Meru, and Oloiluwa Aina, and midfielders Alex Iwobi and Frank Onyeka. Also forward Moses Simon, Kelechi Iheanacho, and Taiwo Awoniyi.
For us, that we can truly say yes, we have a good keeper that is going to save us. It's quite appalling. And Nigeria, with the enormous talent that God has endowed us with, it is quite disappointing and disheartening to still note that we can't still find a like-to-like replacement since Vincent Enyamali. So for me, I'm not that confident about Francis Uzoho standing in between the stick. And for the fine boy talking about
Maduka Okoye,
he's also, he has his own issues as well. He has his own issues of committing one or two blunders. And again, he has not been consistent for his club. He has been warming the bench as well. So
far, of course, the likes of Francis or probably likes of local Joe, Maduka Okoye, of course, will perform this particular one if they definitely, of course, get the playing time. And let's take a look at the defense. Olua Aina, of course, is there. Chidoda Wazim is there. Bright Hussein somewhere is there. Bruno Yemechi is there. Kenneth Umero, of course, is also there in defense. Simi Ajayi is there in defense. Gavin Bassi is also there in defense. And Jamini Collins is there in defense as well. And for the midfield, we have the likes of Rafael Onyedika, Joe Aribo for the day. But talking about delivering the goose, there's one man, of course, who won't be delivering the goose for the Three Lions of England, as the manager of England, Gary Southgate, has come out to explain his decision not to include Chelsea star Raheem Sterling in his squad for their upcoming Euro 2024 qualifiers against Malta and North Macedonia, respectively. Southgate had named their 25-man squad yesterday for this month's Euro 2024 qualifiers with Malta and North Macedonia. Speaking of the decision, Chelsea of recent
to make the list for the English national team this time, but then as he left, they were touting him to be that the next Lionel Messi because of his brilliance, but he never. I won't say that he didn't live up to the expectation because he's still very young. He still has age on his side to pick up. But then we say that
is he really looking that promising? Is he really looking that promising?
I would say yes. To say
when you take a look at Lionel Messi when he started, he was looking very promising. He was looking like a player that, of course, would deliver.
Yeah. Then I would say that to some certain extent, I would say he has the quality in him. All he needs is just to improve on some areas in his game. We've seen him since he came to Brighton, and that is why we see him creating chances and scoring goals for Brighton. So, and I think that is the reason why Barcelona did not sell him directly to Brighton. He is there on loan. That is to say that still know that he has the potentials in him. And as time goes on, I believe they are still going to recall him back to Camp Nou. But I think Roberto Di Zerbi has been doing a quite good job for the whole team played to the strength of the coach, and that free flow, anything from what Toulouse did yesterday. Truly deserving victory, I must say.
Of course, Toulouse, they didn't lose in that game because they won by 3 goals to 2. Controversially, you will say Marseille beat AEK Athens by 2 goals to 0. Atalanta beat Stonegras by 1 goal to 0. Haken, of course, lost to Molde by 3 goals to 1. Rangers beat Sparta Prague by 2 goals to 1. Heritage beat Aris Limassol by 4 goals to 1. And Freiburg beat Baka Topola by 5 goals to 0. Sporting Lisbon beat Braco by 2 goals to 1. West Ham beats Olympiacos by 1 goal to 0. Let's move straight and bring you the fixtures for against Kenny. Basistas, of course, lost to Bordeaux against Kenny. Basistas, of course, lost to Bordeaux by 2 goals to 1. And Kukapriki, they actually lost to Fiorentina by 1 goal to 0. And let's take a look at other interesting features as Ferencváros, they played 1-1 draw against Genk. And we saw they played 2-1 draw against Aberdeen. Aston Villa, they beat Easy Akma by 2 goals to 1. Club Brugge, they beat Lucano by 2 goals to 0. Maccabi Haifa, they actually got an impressive performance down there. They beat Zoya by 3 goals to 1. And we saw another impressive encounter in that game between Slovan. They played a 1-1 draw against Lille. And this team, of course, talking about Bradley Blick, they lost to Genk by 3 goals to 2 as Gift Orban, of course, he got an accuracy in that particular encounter. Let's move on now to take a look at the English Premier League. Promises to be another interesting weekend as we'll see some interesting features. Wolverhampton Wanderers will be Nation against Tottenham Hotspur, Arsenal against Burnley, Crystal Palace against Everton, Manchester United against Luton Town, Bournemouth against Newcastle United, as we see Aston Villa against Fulham, Brighton will be Nation against Sheffield United, Liverpool against Brentford, West Ham United against Nottingham Forest, Chelsea will be Nation against Manchester, and that promises to be the biggest matchup for the weekend. But Michael, I don't know where you think the pendulum will swing to.
It's going to be a very difficult call to make out there because it's a very big game. In short, it's a blockbuster game this weekend. But majority of the pundits, they are giving it to Manchester City, saying that they are going to carry the day. But this is a game of football, and for me, I was able to analyze that game, critically. Manchester City is a team that plays the high-line defense. And it could be very dangerous playing a high-line defense against a team that has a very sharp and pacey wingers. Because don't forget, Pep Guardiola, there's a way he built his team that, his defenders most time push forward. They are not this kind of defender. They are not this kind of team that plays low block. They play the high-line defense. And coming against Chelsea that has, very pacey and very sharp wingers, when the defenders comes out attacking, then if Chelsea get the ball to their wingers, knowing fully well that is their area of strength, those wingers, in the likes of Mudryk, the likes of Raheem Sterling, even Reece James is a fullback, but he advances forward more often and also has the ability to track back as well. So I think that is the area that Chelsea might possibly capitalize and punish Manchester City, because for me, Chelsea has proven this season that they actually know how to play big teams. At the start of the season, nobody gave them a chance against the Red, talking about Liverpool. But they were able to, get a point from that game. In the big game against Arsenal, people said, oh, Arsenal is going to whitewash them because Arsenal is in form, this and that. Chelsea has not been playing well. But to the greatest surprise of many football pundits across the world, Chelsea actually
Osasuna against Palmas, and we'll see Real Madrid. They will also be in action this weekend against Valencia, Barcelona against Alaves, Sevilla against Real Betis. We'll see Atletico Madrid against Villarreal. In the Italian Serie A, we'll see some interesting fixtures as well, as Sassuolo will be in action against Salernitana, Girona against Verona.